Hey! Welcome back to a new video for the channel. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe and like it if you like this kind of content, or share it, which would help me a lot. Now let's get started. Red Bull pressures Checo Perez to renew. We do not know if he will want to continue. Helmut Marko, Red Bull advisor, doubts that the Mexican driver wants to continue in the brand after spending 4 seasons alongside Max Verstappen, and are already prepared to replace him. Much is rumored that the Australian driver, Ricciardo, is already the replacement for Checo, and multiple media consider that this is already putting pressure on the Mexican driver. What seemed to be an uncomplicated season in which Checo Perez could challenge Max Verstappen for the title has finally been a nightmare in which his confidence has been decreasing race after race. Precisely for this reason, Checo became one of the most named men of the season, since after the controversial statements of Red Bull, his future has always been up in the air. Helmut Marko assures that Perez's renewal is a possibility, but does not know if he will want to continue after 4 seasons in the shadow of Max. We don't know whether he will want to continue or not after 2024, so we need to have 4 strong drivers and a good reserve as well. And is that if we analyze the Grand Prix of Japan, Suzuka, we see that Checo had many complications and time differences compared to his teammate, Max Verstappen. Opening the possibilities of Checo's departure to other teams, we know that the Mexican driver brings enough sponsors and profitability to Red Bull. Therefore, he can have departures and attachment to big teams in Formula 1 for the 2025 season. It has been rumored the possibility of Lando Norris joining the Red Bull team replacing Checo. However, despite having a series of ups and downs, Sergio Perez continues to remain in second place in the Drivers' Championship with advantage over the British driver, Lewis Hamilton, in addition to having already renewed his seat for 2024. Looking ahead to the 2025 season, both Perez and Norris finish their contracts and could change teams. Peter Windsor considers that Checo has an advantage over the Norris, because he does not consider him as a paying driver as such, due to the sponsorships he carries, and that is decisive at the moment for Red Bull. Norris will have to earn a place in the Red Bull team by starting to stand out with McLaren's MCL60. Speaking of Lando Norris, the duel between Aston Martin and McLaren in the Constructors' Championship is intensifying, and sparks are flying between the two teams. The progression of McLaren and Aston Martin throughout the 2023 season seems to follow completely opposite paths, with McLaren disappearing at the beginning of the year, and with the passage of the races, knew how to get it right with the improvements to become one of the great forces of the grid. The opposite is the case of Aston Martin, which after a stellar start with podium finishes by Fernando Alonso, now suffers after having failed to update the car. After the Japanese Grand Prix, the difference between Aston Martin and McLaren in the Constructors' Championship is 49 points, an affordable figure considering the difference in the current performance of both brands and above all, considering that in McLaren, both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri contribute points to the team, while on the side of Aston Martin, Lance Stroll has been completely missing for several races. Recently, Fernando Alonso spoke about the increasingly close duel between the two teams for 4th place in the Constructors' Championship, stinging McLaren by referring to them as a team confident of being able to make up those remaining points. Consequently, Lando Norris's response has not been long in coming, defending the principles and philosophy of his team. Norris responds to Fernando Alonso's comments about McLaren. The young British driver and McLaren's on-track leader wanted to rely on facts to defend his team. "Are you saying we're getting overconfident? How many points did we make up last weekend? Quite a lot. I think more than 20, it was 29. So, unless his math is deteriorating, which it definitely isn't, Fernando is just Fernando. He's always going to say those things. He always makes himself look really good, or he makes other people look bad. He's very good at that," responds Lando Norris. The team from Woking, McLaren, has the 2nd best car currently after Red Bull. They are chasing Aston Martin in the World Championship. They are 49 points behind, and now they have a new weapon that can take them to another level. That's all for today. I say goodbye, see you in the next video, stay positive.